Hey there everyone, hope you're all doing great. I'm doing fantastic, thanks to all your well wishes. So today I'm gonna spill the tea on my life with 3 co-wives. Specifically, I'm going to tell you what went down with my oldest stepson from my first co-wife. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button on the video. Seriously, you have to listen to this whole story, or you'll miss out on all the juicy bits. It's all about how my husband couldn't really take care of us 3 wives, and how my oldest stepson ended up filling that void. So, stick around and keep listening. Back when I was in college, my folks wanted me to marry some big-shot engineer or someone with a high-level job. But fate's a funny thing, right? Parents can't always marry off their daughters exactly how they want these days. A lot of them fail at it. My husband, Officer Brody, was a detective at Gotham Precinct. You wouldn't guess his age from his looks. He moved like a movie star, super sharp. But deep down, he was much older than he seemed. I never would have guessed. I just got swept up in his charm, falling for him on my way to and from college. Eventually, I was head over heels in love. We even spent time together in his personal quarters sometimes before we got married. He totally swept me off my feet, if you catch my drift. He was a detective, so he knew his way around. And, well, he was pretty impressive in certain ways, if you know what I mean. After being with him for the first time, I just felt so good, and I knew right then and there that he was the one for me. Nowadays, it's tough to find someone like that in the younger generation. When I experienced it firsthand, spending a few days with him, I felt amazing. Eventually, Officer Brody proposed. He said my family might not agree to our marriage, so he suggested I just leave home and he'd acknowledge me as his wife. So a little while later, I married him at a justice of the peace and just skipped town without telling my folks. I moved into his place. And wow, did I get a surprise. I had no idea Officer Brody had been married so many times. He never talked about his past or his family life. I had no clue he already had 2 wives from different districts. I was wife number 3 in that house. Man, what a fate. I just wanted to bang my head against the wall. I thought about my parents, who worked so hard to raise me, give me an education, and shower me with love. And here I was, defying them all for love, only to end up in a house with co-wives. My mind was reeling with all these thoughts. Eventually I cried it out and just accepted it. What else could I do? I married him of my own free will, without my parents' blessing, so I had no one but myself to blame. Anyway, I just accepted my fate and started living with him. I asked Officer Brody, "You totally tricked me. We were in love, and you never once mentioned you had 2 other wives. You acted like such a young guy, and you even looked it. You're so fit and carry yourself so well, it's like you're still young. But inside, you're obviously not, and realizing that now, I don't know what to do or where to go. I couldn't even go back home because my parents are respectable people in society, and their daughter running off with a guy like this would be a huge scandal. So I just accepted my fate." My husband told me, "Look, I brought a wife from every district I was transferred to. You're my 3rd wife, and I'm not short on cash, but I don't know if you'll have a kid like my 2nd wife couldn't, but my 1st wife did have a son." Anyway, my oldest co-wife's son, Ethan, was pretty much my age. He told me, "Little mom, what did you see in my dad that made you come to his house? Didn't you know he had 2 other wives in this family?" I said, "Sweetie, I was just a naive college student. Your dad was handsome, and he was hitting on me, and I just got swept up in his charm. I never knew he had 2 wives. If I had, do you think I would have come here?" Ethan said, "Yeah, my dad is like that. He married 2 other times and now he's got you too. But since you're here, stay. We won't treat you badly. But little mom, honestly, my dad's not right for your age. I am. You and I are practically the same age. Maybe I'm a couple of days older, or maybe you are." I said, "Yeah, sweetie, maybe. But what can I do? I'm the youngest wife in this house. Please, look out for me. Your dad has 3 wives, and I'm not the type to get into fights. I'm not from that kind of family." Ethan said, "Little mom, I'll take care of everything for you. If dad ever shortchanges you in any way, I'll take care of it." At that point, something started buzzing in my head. Officer Brody, my husband, didn't spend much time with his 1st wife. We had 3 wives, 3 rooms, but he mostly stayed in my 2nd co-wife's room. And he had a bad habit, folks. He'd come home every night high from God knows what. He'd stumble in calling out for, "This one's mom," or "That one's mom." I'd hope he'd come to my room tonight, but he never did. Maybe once a month, I'd get my turn with him. And even then, he wouldn't spend proper time with me, a young woman in his household. The 2nd wife was just more experienced, more of that type. He'd spend most of his time in her room, so I started thinking, my life won't work out with this husband. I need to find an alternative. What could I do? After much thought, an idea clicked. Aha! There's Ethan. If I could just charm him, he's not my biological child. He's my oldest co-wife's son. If I could just coax him and spend my life with him. With that in mind, I started acting a certain way with Ethan. When he needed some cash, he'd say, "Little mom, give me $500. I want to go hang out somewhere. Mom won't give it to me. If you have it, please give it." And if I had it, I'd give it to him. Eventually, even though he wasn't my son, Ethan fell for me. One day I asked him, "Sweetie, do you have a girlfriend in college?" Ethan said, "No, little mom, why the sudden question?" I said, "Sweetie, I honestly don't know what I saw in your dad that made me come to his house. You're not my biological son, but if you could help me out a little, maybe I could stay in your dad's household. Otherwise, life just won't work like this. Life isn't just for a day. Since I've come to live here, I want to spend my whole life here. Can you take care of all my needs? Everything?" Ethan said, "Little mom, yes, I'll take care of all your needs, but what is it that I don't know that you want me to do?" I told Ethan, "Ethan, not only that, but your dad only comes to my room once a month, and I'm a young woman, it's my prime. Look at me, I'm beautiful, fair, and charming. So many guys wanted to hit on me in college. I don't know what mistake I made falling into your dad's trap, so if you could fulfill what I'm missing from your dad in that department, if it's possible for you, then say yes. If it's impossible, then let's end this conversation here and never share it with anyone else, I beg you." Ethan said, "When you say that to me, I'm overjoyed, Mom. Why would Dad at his age be able to handle 3 wives? Listen, I have that kind of habit too." I asked, "Ethan, what kind of habits do you have?" Ethan said, "Look, I get money from you, from my second mom, from my dad. I save it up and go spend 2 or 3 days with my friends. Otherwise, I need that time, you know, I'm grown up. What can I do?" I said, "Ethan, you can have money, but you don't need to go to those places anymore. Why would you go there when you have such a beautiful woman like me at home? Get those thoughts out of your head. You'll spend time with me from now on. Can you do that?" Ethan said, "Little mom, listen, then I'll change my study room to the room next to yours, okay?" I said, "Yes, you're a son of the house. You can come." So, Ethan moved his study table and his belongings from his room to the empty room next to mine. After that, sometimes when I'd tell Ethan, "When it's late at night and your dad's asleep with your mom, just sneak into my room and lock the door." Ethan said, "Okay, Mom, that's why I came next to you." So one night, the first night, around midnight, Ethan knocked on my door. I opened it, and Ethan came into my room. He didn't even need me to say anything. He was a pro at these things. He embraced me, kissed me, and made me absolutely crazy with his touch. I thought, why didn't I meet Ethan earlier? If I had, and young guy is just different, his desires are greater. And his dad, how can he spend time with any wife? He's a detective, and he takes those substances. God knows how he even managed to do anything with me before we got married. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, Ethan would make love to me beautifully, 3 or 4 times, until the dawn call to prayer. He'd pleasure me so wonderfully. His thing was so big and thick, you understand? I loved spending time with him. He'd ask me, "Little mom, how do you feel when I spend time with you like this?" I said, "Ethan, if this continues, my life will be blessed. Why didn't we start a relationship earlier? Then your dad would have been my father-in-law. Why did I get involved with him?" Ethan said, "Little mom, you just stay as my little mom. Dad won't live forever, right? After he passes away, I'll take care of you and my mom. Then, I'll make you my life partner. I really like you. You make love to me so beautifully, in so many ways. I'm so happy. I've been with so many girls in my life, but no one has made me as happy as you have. Such pleasure, such patience. You give me your time. I'm a young man, and I ask so much of you, torture you so much, and you just silently do everything to make me happy. Would another woman do that for me? Will I have such luck in the future?" I said, "Ethan, I like it best that you're happy with what I do for you, because look, I tried so hard to make your dad happy, but he'd just fall asleep. And you, once you start, you want more. That's the thing. We're the same age, right? There's an age compatibility. That's why we're a good match. Your dad and I aren't. Then Ethan told me, "You know what? I have an idea to help you stay in this family. My second mom doesn't have a child. My mom has one child, me. My dad has a lot of property. If I could give you a child, you'd become a stakeholder in all this property. How's that for an idea?" I laughed and said, "Ethan, that's a brilliant idea, sweetie, because if I remain childless in your dad's household, then when your dad passes away, I won't get any share in this family. Yes, you can give me a child, and then I could spend the rest of my life in this family. I'd get a share of your dad's property, and I'd also have a reason to stay." So a year later, Ethan gave me a baby, and the 3 wives, of course, didn't know about it. I just passed it off as Officer Brody's. He didn't even realize it himself. He probably thought it was some fluke. Anyway, from then on, Ethan made love to me so beautifully for the rest of my life. And when he'd make love to me, he'd spend at least half an hour beforehand just showering me with affection, holding me close, and teasing me. He'd make me get ready, put on makeup, do my hair, and wear different outfits to please him. Then, when it was time, he'd make love to me wonderfully. Honestly, if it wasn't for my oldest co-wife's son, I don't think I would have been able to stay in this family. He made love to me so beautifully, and then the next year, he gave me another child, a boy and a girl. Who could stop me then? And my oldest co-wife didn't have any more children. Then, 3 years later, Officer Brody passed away. What a twist of fate. The second wife, who was childless, couldn't stay in the household and went back to her parents' place. But Ethan and I, who knew whose children they really were, stayed. Ethan's mom didn't know whose children they were anyway, so I got my share of the property, as much as I needed. Later, Ethan's mom started pushing him to get married. Ethan said, "No, Mom, I'll never get married. I'll stick with my little mom." Anyway, about a year after Officer Brody's passing, my oldest co-wife, Ethan's mom, also passed away. Then, I was truly relieved. It was just me, my 2 children, and Ethan in the house. Then Ethan said, "Little Mom, instead of living like this, secretly and illegally, why don't we call my friend, who's a justice of the peace, and get married?" I said, "Yes, darling, you should do it right now. There's no one else to consider anymore." So, the very next day, Ethan called a justice of the peace and arranged our marriage in the house, discreetly. No one knew. He acknowledged me as his wife. From that day on, I lived with him legally for the rest of my life. My life became happy, and I found a son like Ethan. It's like the Almighty wanted to lead me to happiness through any means possible, and I guess, friends, that's what happened in my case. My parents never saw Officer Brody, but when my 2 children grew up, I went to my parents' house with Ethan, introducing him as my husband. They happily accepted me because, well, he was Officer Brody's son, and Ethan was also incredibly handsome, like a movie star. My parents were happy and accepted us. Anyway, the rest of my life with Ethan was wonderful. He never said no to anything I asked for. Friends, I never thought my life in a co-wife household would change so drastically. Ethan, with his cleverness, completely transformed my life. From then on, Ethan and I lived happily ever after. So friends, this was my life story. You could call it tragic, or an accident, or even a happy life. Sharing this incident, this narrative, this story with you has lightened my heart. If you enjoyed this story even a little bit, please subscribe to my channel right now, like the video, and share it with your close friends so they can hear this story too. And yes, friends, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe right away to get the next video. I'll be back tomorrow with another beautiful story. Until then, take care of yourselves and stay well.